Hey everybody. I don't know how this is going to come out. I'm just trying this for the first time. I actually had a Zoom meeting set up and it's the first time we're trying it on a Saturday and I don't think anybody's going to show up. So I decided to go live, offer anybody who might catch this to join me on the Zoom if they want. And in the meantime, I just tell you a short story about something that happened to me this week. I was sitting there about midweek working on some things and felt a calling to go down to a local community park that we had down there and check on some homeless people, see if I could bring them something to eat, see if there's anything I can do to help. And I get down there, and normally there's not many cars there. And this time there was a bunch of cars in front of the shoulder house where the homeless usually are. And I'm like, wonder what the heck's going on. So I get out of my car and I go up. And there's some people down at the one end of the shower house kind of having a meeting, it appears. And at the other end, there was a couple of the homeless people laying there on the picnic benches. And so I really felt a little awkward, wasn't sure uh, what I should do. I didn't want to interrupt their meeting. Kind of sat there and just listened. And after a while, it became apparent to me that I had walked into the middle of an AA meeting they were having out in the shelter house. And probably, I'm going to say 8 to 10, probably 10 people there. And I decided, well, I'll just sit here and listen. And a couple of them kind of motioned to me or whatever. They probably thought I was there on purpose. And maybe I was, as it ends up. But anyway, um, so I decided to sit through it. And I'm listening to them. And I found this very interesting that only two or three of them mentioned God. And when they did, uh, especially two, maybe all three, mentioned them in the sense of God or your higher power, whatever you want to call it, kind of thing. And of course, which I knew was going to happen, they always identified themselves as, "Hi, I'm John, I'm an alcoholic," or "I'm Cindy, I'm an alcoholic," blah, blah, blah. And I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, my goodness, these people are off alcohol, but they're miserable. There was one that was only clean for a couple weeks or a couple days, and she was really struggling. There was one that had been clean for 2 decades or more and was still struggling. And all variations in between. Some of them very frustrated. A lot of cussing and swearing went on as they were telling their testimonies and their stories. And some of them were just very, very frustrated and very upset with life. And I'm sitting there going, wow. So it got around to me and I told my story. And if I ever get in this position again, by the way, I've decided I'm going to start my story by saying, "Hi, my name's Steve, and I am born again, brand new in Jesus Christ." Because as I talk to them, oh, and let me tell you the rest of my story. So, in case you're wondering, I am far from anything perfect. I told them, I said, I've used just about every drug there is, but something you couldn't shoot in your arm. And for most of my life, most of that fell away, but for most of my life, I still hung on to cigarettes, alcohol, and pot. I said pot was the first thing to go, long time ago, never really bothered me. Cigarettes was about 3 years ago after I got cancer, and my house got taken down to cement walls and stud walls and cement floors. And I was sitting on my back one night counting my blessings. And sometime a few months after that, cigarettes was always extremely hard. But I had got busy counting my blessings, got really close walking with the Lord, and it got easier to quit because I was depending on and asking for help from the Lord. And it got real easy. And then about a month or so ago, I stopped drinking liquor, stopped drinking alcohol altogether, really. But liquor, mostly scotch, was my thing. And that I thought was going to be really hard. And it wasn't, again, because, and I did that so I could help get this colostomy bag reversed, hopefully. But anyway, my point was, hi, I'm Steve Reed. I'm born again, new in Jesus Christ because I rely on Him. And I told this to them in my story as I quit each of these because I relied on and leaned on the Lord. I've had no problem. Like one of them said, I have no alcohol in the house. I said, I still got my handle of scotch underneath the bar, but I have no desire to touch it or open it up. The Lord has helped me with this. And I was talking to my daughter later about it, our oldest daughter, and she had beat addiction by a 1 year closed in Christian program. And she said, Dad, that's one of the problems that alcoholics have is they acknowledge a higher power, but not necessarily God. It could be a doorknob or whatever. And they always start out their meetings by, my name is Steve and I'm an alcoholic. So they keep beating it in their head that they're still an alcoholic, not that they're born again new in Jesus. So I did end up, by the way, getting some food and talking to the homeless. And I'm still not done giving up yet on how to maybe help them get back out of being homeless. But I'm also wondering now, was I not there because I need to find a way to help people that are battling addiction, be it alcoholism or whatever. And I got to think this through. I'm going to pray on it and see. And if you catch this, I'd love to hear your comments and hear what your thoughts are on this as well. I'm going to end it now. I think I probably talked longer than I should already, but we'll find out how this goes. Talk to you later. Bye.